Two More Good Guys podcast. We're so stoked with you guys to have you guys with us again. Across from the table for me today, I have a really special guest. His name is Eric Bunge. Everybody give him a round of applause. You can hear it in the back.
Crowd goes wild.
Yeah, crowd goes wild. And he is our local representative for the Habitat for Humanity. And let me tell you something, guys. The more that you find out about this, and the reason I say that is because once you're done with this podcast, you're definitely going to be doing your own research on it and kind of figuring out what they're all about and wanting to be a part of it. You're just going to be really amazed that there's organizations out there that have the capability to do what they do and actually do it for the communities that you care about. And we're talking like globally, but
right.
Even locally for all the podcast listeners that are listening, there's probably a habitat near you, and they're probably doing a lot more stuff than you ever realized. And if you want to be a part of the bigger picture of what they do, then this is the podcast for you. So everybody, welcome Eric to our podcast today.
No, grateful. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate absolutely, man. So let's kick this off real quick. I mean, Habitat for Humanity, it sounds kind of like a broad scope name, but you guys have a lot of specialities, a lot of things that you do. Give us kind of like a little 411, like if you're giving us a spiel about what it does and what it is.
So Habitat International, is our parent organization we operate under. Such a cool organization that we're a part of, 72 nations across, or 72 countries across the world, and we're a couple thousand affiliates across the nation.
Awesome.
Each covers their own specific geographic area, so we can better target our local markets and serve those people within those boundaries. So Ours is Southwest Riverside County. So basically the 7 cities inside that. We're based out of here of Temecula, but we serve everywhere from up to Lake Elsinore, up to Paris, and then everything in between.
Well, that's like what, over 500,000 people?
Yeah, I was about to say it's just in the Temecula Valley alone, it's over 500,000.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, if you think about the scope of what you guys have to cover, and the amazing thing about it, though, is it feels like you guys actually cover it. You know, like a lot of times you get affiliates and especially philanthropic groups that cover, because usually when you think philanthropic groups, you think of groups that are kind of struggling to make the organization work in the first place. Right. But you guys cover the territory. I mean, like, there's not a lot of places you can turn in the Inland Valley without finding Habitat involved.
I was about to say I couldn't agree more, and we've been thriving and growing, and it's a really exciting time to actually be involved, to speak about Habitat for one, obviously selfish endeavors there, right? But then two, actually to be involved with Habitat, because we have some really cool things on the horizon. But to that point, we try to serve it the best we can. We build about 1 to 2 homes a year for local income families, but more importantly, and 2, we actually do a home repair side of things that not a lot of people know about.
That's awesome.
And we do average about 100 of those annually.
Wow. So what kind of repairs do you guys do? Like when you say repair, like are we talking like here's your door fixed, or are we talking something like, grand scope?
Yeah, so it's all external work, and it ranges everything from minor to major repairs. So some of that's like we do a couple community cleanup days, which is mostly weed abatement, yard work, trimming, tree trimming, things like that, to help with people that are either can't do it or immobilized or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Mostly we're finding it's a loss of spouse, so they're single head household trying to take care of a double wide, and then they might have mobility issues now, and it just doesn't work. Then from there, it kind of graduates to step and ramp repair, and then we go into our bigger, more critical home repair, which is like roof replacement, HVAC replacement.
Wow.
Depending on the cities and the funding and the grant sources that we're working with, where we can serve those individuals. But that's kind of the scope. It's a little bit of everything in between. But most of those, about 50% of the home repairs we do are called the Brush with Kindness, where we take groups. I know you guys are going to bring a team out next month.
That's right.
To come paint the exterior of a senior's home, helps preserve it from another 10 to 12 years.
That's so cool.
And it's just helps extend the lifetime of that home.
Man, that's I'm going to throw you back to the 80s with this word. That's super rad. I use that word all the time.
I was about to say, like your hat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Rad. But honestly, man, like, I'm a big softie for this kind of stuff, and I don't have any hesitation saying that, because there's always friends and family that we care about that seem to be kind of beyond the scope of having what normal care we feel they should have. And to have an organization that can come and do that just out of the goodness of their hearts and do major repairs. I mean, even if people are capable of doing it, like you said, if it's a single person, if it's somebody that's elderly or disabled, they may not have the opportunity, the time, the tools, the resources, and to come out and fulfill their need takes so much off of the stress. I mean, I remember just last year we had some major sink problems with with our faucet and everything, and I'm a fully capable human being ready to throw this thing out the window because I'm stressed between work and life and kids and having to deal with this. And I can't even imagine if I had to do that all on my own, no spouse, no one there to look after me. And to see someone come in and be kind of like those angel wings coming in and saying, hey, like, we got your back on this.
Yeah.
That's got to be tremendous.
It's totally rewarding. I've been a part of it for many years now. So it's just, I'm here to stay for a bit, but just to be able to see, especially the seniors and veterans that we serve, just awesome. To be able to serve, there's just sheer appreciation in their eyes. Especially some of them are even out there, some of them come out, some of them don't, but some of them actually come out and work alongside our volunteers, and they're just grateful for it. They even bake cookies sometimes. That's cool. It's such a really cool, and everything that we do is a hand up, not a handout. So there's definitely a different sense of appreciation with that too. Yeah. That comes along that with the individuals that we serve. So it's a total win-win all the way around. Yeah,
this is kind of a funny expression. I don't use it very often because most people think I'm crazy when I do it because they never heard it. But I call it the back in my day feelings because I hear it all the time, with parents and grandparents about how people used to treat each other, right?
Right.
And the communities that they used to be with and how things were back in, the glory days. But when you think about how Habitat treats people, it aligns with that. Like when you're talking about how you're coming to help people and then they're coming out with cookies and all of a sudden it's kind of this weird community family event where it doesn't even feel like you're there to do a good deed, as it were. It's like, here, we're human beings. Let's do this together.
I'll tell you the favorite experiences that I've been a part of too, especially when we're building houses. So one component of our homeowner requirement is sweat equity. That's our down payment.
Sure.
So the homeowners will actually come to the job site and swing hammers alongside the corporate groups, volunteers, and everybody else that we have. Awesome. But to your point, now it's a community event and we're all in this together. Hence why I got the 2x4 over there too. It's a cool tradition of ours on our job site. We'll talk about that later, but
we'll definitely bring it up. I promise. Because that is rad.
Yeah, I was gonna say rad. I want to use that term now too. Right?
Yeah, I got you back, man.
Brad stoked, bro. So yeah, it's just such a cool experience when I'll tell you short story, but when we did our first women's build in 2019, it was a house we did in Lake Elsinore for Rita Behringer and her family. It was a single mother, but we had 30 women leaders from local CEOs. We had council members, everybody like that came together with Rita to raise the walls of the home. Like that's just cool. A magical experience in and of its own right.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe it, especially because you think of the bigger picture, even beyond what you guys accomplished for Rita, the cohesion and the kind of harmony that you create for women there, for them. I mean, because I know that's kind of a hot topic in today's society, is that ability for women to come together and to stand out and to show that they can accomplish things together and independently as well, and to have that community of professional women come out and show that they can support each other. Right. And that's phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. And then obviously the pink hard hats just topped it all up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Was that a pun? I don't know. Topped it, but that's okay.
No, I liked it, man. It was good. So I wanted to kind of touch on something else too that you talked about earlier. When you and I first talked was, I don't know, a couple months ago now. Yeah. And one of the things that kind of caught my ear was obviously, our organization lines up with you guys because we do homes. Mm-hmm. But as a personal, value of mine, I'm a huge fan of supporting veterans.
Love it.
And the fact that you guys prioritize that as one of your key seeker audience people that you help. Because, I mean, you hear so many stories that are so true. And I have a lot of friends that are veterans. I've lost friends in Iraq and Afghanistan. I've seen friends lose limbs. And, it's hearing the lack of gratitude that comes back with that. And the lack of care. I mean, there's programs out there, sure, and there's different things that you hear with their GI Bills and stuff, and I think we assume that they're okay with just that. But having, organizations and people that go out of their way to do the little things that they would love to have had family or friends doing with them, and now kind of creating that environment and that sort of social construct around them, that is just invaluable.
I couldn't agree more. That's definitely something that I could never do personally, so I have a great deal of respect for those that can.
Yeah.
But to that commitment too, I know we do, especially with the Home Depot Foundation, we do 2 projects specifically every year for a veteran homeowner. And to that point, whether they're forgotten or, which what we're finding too is the spouses of them especially when the seniors, once the spouse dies, now that kind of, so a widowed veteran, it's like, what does that look like for them? And they kind of get forgotten in that trend too, which is sad all on its own right.
That's right, man. I mean, we underestimate how much the families of our veterans give up. And then when that veteran is gone, what do they have left, Yep. And to be there and say, here, like, we're going to make sure you still have a roof over your head. And you're going to have a functioning door or a functioning ramp or steps or whatever. I mean...
Right, a safe home.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's just... if you want to talk about warm and fuzzies, that's a good way to look at it. But it's so much more beyond that, because there's really just a fabric of humanity that I think sometimes when we get online and we see the internet, we kind of lose faith in humanity. And organizations like yourself kind of help us restore a little bit of that. Like, hey, there's people out here that are actually trying to do right.
Right. And that's... it's a great point though, but to that point too is why, from when we were founded to we're celebrating our 30-year anniversary this year, so that's exciting, right?
That's rad.
Habitat International has been around a lot longer than that, back in the 70s, but since the beginning of it, volunteers have been the cornerstone of it, because for that very point, it's one thing to just toss money or whatever at some, but when you actually invest your time, now not only do the people receiving the services have that appreciation, but to your point, now it's, hey, we're actually physically doing something good here. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of value to that, just from the personal soul aspect.
Yeah, and I'm going to do this for dramatic effect and look at the camera for a second. But I've lived in this area for 34 years, and I've been here for 30 of that. And I can tell you something, I love my community. I love where I live. I love being where I'm at. I love that I'm raising my kids in it. Yeah. And have an organization that I know that is doing what you guys do to continue to keep the values and the important things tied into it means the world to me and my family. So we're super grateful that you guys have been here for as long as you have, and we're ready to celebrate all year long with you guys for this 30th, man. This is big.
I was about to say, exciting things to come for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So I know you guys have a ton of events coming up. We're trying to be a part of as many as we can. So I know at least through December, you guys are so busy. Like we could do 1 month and still fill a podcast, but let's talk about through December what you guys have coming up and what exciting things you have on the list.
So that's selfishly one reason why I'm wearing the shirt, right? Actually, this is
awesome.
Yeah. So it's going to go live. It's called Lunges for Lumber. It's a first year initiative for us, but we wanted to get the community. Maybe not everybody's up for swinging a hammer, but somebody wants to support Habitat, so we wanted to give the community a fun way to do that.
Cool.
So you can do lunges for lumber if you want to donate. So our challenge is 10 lunges, $10, tag a friend to do the same. Everybody remembers the ice challenge from a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Such, it's a typical thing if different corporate companies want to get on it too, like mortgage guys can challenge a realtor or whatever it is at that point.
Yep.
It's just a fun way to get involved. So that's launching the end of September. It's going till the middle of October.
Cool.
The one I'm really excited about is we're going to be doing a playhouse build.
This is cool. I remember you talking about this. Is really cool.
I'm going to love this one. So
October, go nuts on it. Go nuts.
So we actually have 2 different builds, and over the course of those 2 build days, we're going to build 8 playhouses, and all of them are going to be donated to COVID frontline worker families.
That's so cool.
We feel this has been a crazy last year and a half, going on 2 now, so we feel like those families could use a little bit of joy, and that's just our way to show our gratitude to what those families have had to endure this last year.
Oh yeah.
Which we've all had to make it changes and adapt, but especially going, like, they're in the trenches going through it. So that would
all right.
So I'm excited to be able to reciprocate our gratitude and appreciation to them in that way.
Yeah.
And then our last one to wrap off the year, then I'll sleep in December, but that's all right, is Christmas Tree Lane. It is at the Promenade. Super excited again this year. We will be front and center court, right in front of JCPenney's. If you've ever been to the Promenade, it's where that big Christmas tree usually is.
Yep.
It's going to be filled with 20 professionally decorated Christmas trees.
Oh, that's awesome.
Family friendly. Tickets are just $1. You can win a really cool tree. All different themes. I know we're going to have some fun different themes going on this year. I know there's a couple that are a couple of our sponsors. I guess I can let the cat out of the bag.
Go for it.
So I know we'll have like a retro music tree. We're going to have some sort of animal tree going on. 101 Dalmatians just came out. Maybe, right? Wink, wink.
Oh, man. My son's going to be all over that tree.
Speaking of your son, if they're in the wheels, we're probably going to do a Hot Wheels tree this year. So that's going to be cool.
Oh, man.
So, and then, there should be some traditional trees, and then there'll be some other kind of like hip current trees too. So it'll be a nice blend, something cool for everybody at that point.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, man. Being a dad has completely changed my perspective on life, right? Which, If I didn't say that, I'd probably be like the worst dad ever. But the reality is that's what happened. And seeing people go through COVID and have kids and the things that they've had to walk through, right? Being able to walk into their lives and give their kids a playhouse,
right,
and bring joy in a time that these kids just don't understand what's going on. They're going into school masked. Right. They've had to quarantine. They were going nuts with their parents trying to be their teachers for a year. Yeah. You know, all this stuff. Right. And then to come and say, here's something to remind you that you're still a kid.
Right.
Not only will the kids never forget that, the parents will never forget that.
I'm telling you that. So obviously, building homes, repairing homes, our education program, all superly crucial, important.
Yeah.
But the Playhouse is just on a personal level is one of my favorite programs that we do, because as a nonprofit, you don't get the chance to be charitable. But this allows us now to partner with local corporations and donate the Playhouses away to families. So it's just such a cool. It gives me chills every time I talk about it. So
and I love that you said what you said, because people don't really get to understand that, like, nonprofits are already giving so much of themselves. It's like there's not another realm for them to give charitably in a way that is beyond the realm that they're already getting funded for.
Right.
And you guys are really unique in that you guys have extended yourselves in a way where you're a charity that gives charity, like on top of the charity. Yeah. I don't even know how that makes sense, but it does. It's like Inception, you know?
Right.
But that's crazy, man. That shows the heart of this organization. Not very often does an organization go global and make an impact on individual communities the way you guys do already. But then to go out beyond the call and say, hey, we're going to bring charity in a way that we're not even supposed to. And it's going to come from us.
Right.
Oh, man, that gives me chills.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's crazy, man.
It's no joke. But I got to give all credit to our executive director, Tammy Marine.
She's cool, man.
She's a huge driving force behind that. She even, I forget how many years ago, but we actually started a nonprofit discount program at our Restore location. So nonprofits can get a discount card to purchase materials at our Restore that are already discounted, right?
Yeah.
So it's such a cool way. So that was just kind of the start of she has a vision of being a bigger, obviously we want a global lens, right? But she has a really bigger picture of like, we want to be a community partner. We're just not the nonprofit that builds houses.
Yes.
So that's just one way. And then Playhouses is another way that we can give back. So it's so cool. And I know, perfect example of ways that I just love, I can talk about this organization forever, right? But
that's the point, right?
But like Michelle's place right across the street, I know we were able to help them with some of their furniture, and we like all the custom woodworking we did in their art and their creative space. So it's one way that we can get involved with another organization that then pays it forward to more people, and it's cool to be come together in a community like that.
It's awesome, man. And what you were referencing about the furniture was the design center.
Oh yeah.
and I'm bringing it up because I know he's restraining himself because he loves that as his baby. But I'll tell you something. I've been to the design center. It is fan-flippin-tastic. And you know what's funny is I've been in there with other professionals. I showed my wife it, much to my dismay, because I know we're going to be doing all kinds of spending there now. But imagine like one of the greatest furniture stores you've ever seen at like a third of the price.
Yep.
And then on top of that, knowing that price is funding people that need that money.
Honestly, the Restores so we have two Restores locations. Basically, it's a home improvement thrift shop, for a lack of a better term. That's the best way I can describe it. No, it's a great way to say it.
I love it. Yeah.
And then our new design center here in Temecula. That place is huge for us. The revenue coming out of that place, like you said, goes to support our programs. But the Restore is a program in and of its own right, because we believe in, we build homes, we repair homes, but overarching mission that we believe in is people improving their living conditions.
That's awesome.
So whether they, DIYers, whatever it may be, even if it's just purchasing furniture, as you know, like our houses, the word home has a whole new meaning. It's an office, it's a school, right?
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about earlier, right?
Absolutely.
And you got to sleep somewhere within all that too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, to our design center, it's been open just over a year now. And the Restore model is everything's usually anywhere from 40 to 60% off retail prices. It's just one way for us to serve the community. But to your point, all the dollars generated from that, the revenues go to support our building and repair program. So it's a really cool win-win all the way around at that point.
It really is. It's hard to find. And most people probably wouldn't even believe it, because most people don't believe that there is really true a win-win nowadays, and that kind of everybody is benefiting from something. But it really is. I mean, it was crazy seeing some of the furniture out there that me and my wife have actually been looking for and haven't been buying because it's too expensive everywhere else, and seeing it at a price that was affordable. But then also knowing, like, you're helping local, you're helping people in need.
Yep.
It's like, how are you checking all these boxes at one time? It doesn't even seem realistic, you know?
Right. It's our way to serve the community. You know, we probably do that in more aspects, and spread ourselves over, but that's okay. I think there's a lot of, obviously home is the importance of that. There's a lot of different avenues that we can do to support that, where it's either helping a family repair a house so they can age with dignity,
right?
Help you furnish your own home at a discounted rate, whatever, our educational programs, MSJC class that we do with them through the construction class, whatever it may be in those spectrums. But it's different ways that we can help people feel safe, comfortable, and stable at home.
Yeah, I don't know if this is intentional use in your vernacular, but I'm going to pick it apart because I like it. And I noticed that you talk about building houses, but more often than not, you use the word that we're getting people home. And I think there's a huge difference in that, because anyone can build a house, anyone can buy a house. Yep. I can tell you that firsthand being a lender, but making it feel like home is a very different task.
Yep.
And that's what you guys do that's different than almost anyone is you guys don't just get somebody a house or repair a house. It's like, how do we make sure that when this person goes back through that door, it's home sweet home?
Well, I'll tell you that I think there's a lot of different arguments for and against that. But I think just the core crux of what we do is, like I said, a hand up and not a hand out. I think it derives back to that because there's, I don't badmouth anybody or whatever, but there's studies around the HGTV, make over your home, the homes deteriorate after a while. But actually being invested, whether it's repairing, because even some of the home repairs, their seniors might not be mobile. We've even had some volunteer do office work for us and things like that. So there's still a way for them to be involved and do the sweat equity component. That I think has that sense of appreciation that, especially our homeowners that help build the houses. We've even had some of their kids get involved, and it's so cool. Like, hey, I painted my own room. Yep. It's just a whole new sense of appreciation for what that means.
It is.
And especially with, it's sad because we're looking at statistics, and nationwide it's 1 in 7, but California specifically, it's 1 in 5 families are cost burdened, meaning they pay more than 50% of their income for rent, mortgage, whatever it may be at that point. So how can you make your house a home if you can't afford to?
That's right.
It's sad.
It's real sad. Absolutely. And I love that you keep addressing the term sweat equity and that how people kind of invest in this. You want to talk a little bit about that board? Because I feel like it's kind of
so cool.
A perfect print of here's the sweat equity we put into it, but also it's kind of proof in the pudding of the community that's there. So I would love for you to kind of go deeper into that.
So this is probably one of the coolest things we do on the job sites. It's a fun tradition that Habitat started from the beginning, whatever. So anybody that volunteers, obviously our staff members too, because we give hearts and souls into this thing.
Yep.
So any corporate volunteers that come to the job site, whatever it may be, this is actually fun. This year we actually took 2x4s to our golf tournament.
Wow.
Some people might not actually be able to swing hammers with us, but they support us in different ways, right? So it's like, hey, let's bring the build site to them.
That's cool.
So this one came to our golf tournament with us. Every player was able to sign. We had 4 of them out there. Every player was able to sign it. So these actually get incorporated into our home builds.
Yeah.
Whether it's just signing your name, a lot of people sign either like a Bible verse, special blessing for the family. They get incorporated. They'll get buried underneath the drywall and everything once it goes in. But knowing that, hey, I'm actually a part of this house.
Right.
And then once it becomes a home, when the family gets their keys, they're forever going to be a part of that home. And it's such a cool thing, and it's just one of the unique things that we do.
Yeah, so to kind of give a little bit of a emotional connection to that from my own experience, I remember when I was in school, the school got big enough to expand onto another campus. And before they drywalled everything, they let all the kids go on the site and write their names on everything.
How cool is that? See, right. So you get it.
And I still remember it to this day, right? Like, it was the coolest thing. Like, my name is on that building still. And I remember even sitting in the classes, everything was done. I was thinking, I wonder where my name is in here now. You know what I mean? Like, thinking about all this kind of stuff and, like, feeling like a part of it. And there's a weird attachment to something. It's like when you see people get the first home and you see, like, they put their hands in the cement or whatever, or etch their names. There is a real beauty, even for the people involved that are receiving, to know that there's kind of that warmth and that the hands of people are around you. And knowing that you're not alone is huge, especially in today's society. I mean, in COVID, when you're talking about people that are a little isolated from themselves, from everybody, and to have an organization that's, as COVID's breaking out, to be like, hey, no, you were not alone. We were just a stone's throw away this whole time.
Yeah, right.
That's cool, man.
We're here to support.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it here only because we could do this all day long. But
I was about to say, before you do, selfish plug for an event that we're about to host.
Go for it.
I completely forgot that, the Design Center. So.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to go into it yet or not.
Okay,
right? Let's do it. All right, let's do it.
So, little plug, probably more to come, but hey, save the date, November 9th, Taco Tuesday.
Hey, we love tacos.
Yep. 5:30. It's going to be at the Design Center. It's going to be a secret shopping hour. I'll let the cat out of the bag, but we're going to have tacos, drinks, all that fun stuff. Two Guys Mortgage, us, Rough and Ready, and then Corner Escrow with Lisa. Yep. So it'll be a fun event. Come hang out with us.
I promise I didn't forget. I just wasn't sure if you wanted to let the cat out of the bag.
Right.
Hey guys, yeah, it's going to be a fun event. I mean, if you know any of the names that were just listed, I mean, with Lisa and Jonathan and all those guys coming out, it's going to be a blast. It's and on top of that, like, it's so much fun, and you're going to have fun to do something that's charitable, right? Yep. So I mean. And who doesn't want a reward of tacos to go with
right.
that?
I was about to say.
This body was crafted by tacos. So thanks for reminding me to do that and to go back. I'm glad we were able to etch that out for everybody. But really, we are going to have Mr. Eric back on here quite a bit, mainly because not only are we about small business, and that's why we do this podcast. You guys already know that you've been listening. But more important than anything that we could ever do with dollars and cents is what we can do for the person standing next to us. If we forget about that, we no longer are living life with purpose. I have a lot of strong beliefs about how we're supposed to treat people, how we're supposed to love them. And I can tell you right now, man, this is at the crux of it. If you're not loving your neighbor more than you're loving yourself, if you're not taking care of humanity, then there's something wrong with where your heart and intentions are. And there's a beauty to coming back to this and come back to that foundation of this origin of what they're looking at, what they're trying to do. And I would love for that to be a constant reminder amidst all this business that we're going to talk, all these different clients that we bring in. There's nothing wrong with them at all. Don't get me wrong. And a lot of these guys already do a lot of this stuff. But to come back and to remind ourselves why we're here is huge. And so, Eric, I can't thank you enough for your time. I can't thank you enough for what you guys do. And I always look forward to running into you like every event that we see each other at. And I can't wait to have you back on the air with us, because this is what I'm passionate about, as you can clearly see. And it's the most fun thing for me to talk about, is how we can benefit people. So thank you for coming on the air. We couldn't be more grateful for you.
Oh, likewise. I totally reciprocate everything that you just said. This is exciting. It's fun to talk, and I'm glad that your team's going to get a little bit more involved with what we do too. I can't wait for things to come.
And I'm going to do what I always do to mess with James, and I always end up looking more like the fool anyways, but I'm going to do this, and at some point you're going to have to put some links where I'm pointing, James. It's going to happen. And basically what the whole point about me doing that is he's going to put links throughout the whole conversation for anything that he mentioned, any of his events, any of the organizations that we touched on, including some of the ones that are going to be helping us out with different projects that are coming up. It's a big deal, man, to be a part of something like this. And so we want to make sure you guys are able to find the right channels to get there and to be educated on it, or to at least be informed on the right dates. Anything from Christmas Tree Lane at the Promenade to the November 9th with our event, or the lumber for lunges, or lunges for lumber.
Yeah, something like that, right.
Something in that order. An exercise I don't want to do.
It's right. All you got to do is one and just do a boomerang of it, right? So that way you don't have to do 10. Just
this is why you're the smart guy in the room. Yes. This is how we're doing it. Yeah. So anyways, please, guys, come check these guys out. I couldn't be more thankful for Eric coming in, and Habitat for Humanity for walking alongside our business and making it have some more meaning and purpose in its life. So we look forward to seeing you guys next time on our episodes.
Cool. Love it. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely, brother.